Hey guys, Gilberto here. So in this video, we're gonna go through a live ad account and I'm gonna show you in real time pretty much my top process when it comes to optimizing this ad account and what I did, why I did it, the campaign structure, what campaign I was running. And so this is gonna be a full breakdown of an e-commerce account that was spending about 58K per month, 58K in the last 2 weeks, pretty much during the Black Friday. So decent budget, nothing crazy. But you pretty much now can see my top process behind those campaigns. As you can see, most of them right now are switched off because Black Friday is over. I'm recording this video on the 9th of December. So this was pretty much what was been running till like a week ago. So if we go inside account, first of all, we can see that we have some campaigns which are not necessarily directly to purchase. We have the awareness campaign and the traffic campaign. Now, this campaign is something that you don't want to run every single time. You just want to run it if you have some very big e-commerce accounts or lead generation account that are spending a relatively good amount of money, at least like, let's say, 70 to 100K per month, right? So in this case, for example, this e-commerce brand is a 8 figures e-commerce brand, so they're making obviously a lot of money, and they're also spending quite a bit on ads because they spend on average like about 100K per month in advertising. And so we have decided collectively that running a traffic campaign and awareness campaign on top of our purchase campaign, conversion campaign right here would have been a great idea. And the reason why we done it is because the awareness campaign, for example, can signal people that our Black Friday has started. So as you can see right here, I'm going to show you this the structure of the campaign, but I have an awareness campaign with 8 different assets, and in every asset there is one ad that pretty much is telling people, hey guys, like the Black Friday has started. And you don't have to use this necessarily just for Black Friday. You can also use this strategy, for example, when you have a product launch, right? Or when you're dropping a new product, or where there is a restock of one of your best products, or when you have like a unique offer pretty much that is about to, launch and or is about to finish, right? And so the structure of the campaign right here is quite simple. We have an awareness campaign. As you can see, this is a CBO campaign at $40 per day. Awareness, highest volume as a B strategy. And then every single asset is going to have as an objective reach, okay, which you can see right here, okay. I have it reach, and then I have the frequency cap, which is capped to 1 impression per day. The reason being is because I don't want this ad to be shown twice the same day to the same users. I would much rather to have another asset right here that is showing another ad. And so ideally we come to a point where during one day, let's say someone has to see our ads 3 or 4 times, they're not gonna see the same ad. They're constantly gonna see a different concept, which again, the message is the same, but the concept is different, is refreshing, which means that I'm not gonna cause really any oversaturation of my audience. And as you can see right here, my reach was like 100K and my impression were 200,000, right? So we have a frequency of 2. Now, if you look inside essentially the asset, you can see the targeting was our engage website. So add to cart, reach checkout, website visitor 30 days, Instagram and Facebook engage at 30 days. And then we are excluding obviously all the purchases because for that we have a separate Klaviyo email list that is going on, okay? So again, this is not something that you have to do, but if you are running like a pretty big e-commerce account or local lead generation or lead generation account, and you have like a new offer that is about to launch, a new product, a restock of like a bestseller product, that having this awareness campaign where you literally just have an ad that is saying to people, hey guys, like our Black Friday started, our sales of the year started, our new product is live, our stock of our best selling, literally something like this. It's probably one of the best return on investment you can do, because again, it's going to be extremely cheap to reach those people, but those people now are going to know that, oh my God, okay, this new offer is now live. And so they're necessarily not going to click on that, but they're going to engage on that. And then by engaging on that, automatically our prospecting campaign, essentially, which is the one that actually drives for the purchase, then is going to reach out to those people, which is why you can see in this case, the frequency was extremely high. We have a frequency of nearly 10, right? Which is definitely not great. But the reason why we've been doing that is because we didn't want to maximize the reach in this case. We just want to maximize the profit. And so this business specifically in this case, because they're already making 8 figures, their goal was not to even expand it further in the market, but just try to get as many purchases as possible, right? Within an engaged / like new audience, as you can see right here. But to even further open a little bit more, we decided to run a traffic campaign, because we're like, okay, we know for a fact that this campaign is primarily gonna go essentially to our existing audience, is going to go to our engaged audience and not so much in our new audience. So to kind of feed a little bit more information inside essentially this campaign and try to expand Facebook to kind of reach to new people, having a traffic campaign is actually a great idea. And again, this campaign has spent $800 in the last 14 days, so it didn't spend that much, obviously. But the intent of this campaign pretty much was trying to force Facebook to look outside of his target at least a little bit, because we noticed that again with this account, necessarily it's not going to new people, it's constantly going towards the same, probably because the brand is so big already in itself, so Facebook is prioritizing like existing engagers. And again, we are fine with that because the goal for this campaign was specifically to maximize the profit, not necessarily maximize the reach, right? But still, I've decided to throw in there this traffic campaign, just try to a little bit open the targeting without, destroy pretty much the whole concept of the campaign, which again is maximize profitability. And then obviously we have our CBO campaign, and this is the main scaling campaign that I have. And as you can see, we have multiple assets right here, and we have multiple creatives inside. Some of the creatives, as you can see right here, didn't even get spent. And those creatives obviously were launched like quite late on, like on the 30th, but the campaign was still like the second. So if I do from the 14th to the second, you can see that these campaigns still didn't get like a lot, and the results were very, very bad, which is why essentially Facebook didn't spend a lot here, right? Most of the spend really was going towards asset number 3 and asset number 4, and a little bit also in asset number 1, right? Those were the best performing ones that we have. But again, as you can see, the frequency in those one right here, if I can find it, it's quite high, especially number 3, like it's a 7 frequency. So we know for a fact that we are retargeting essentially with this asset right here, our engagers audience, which again, even though we're running broad, Facebook automatically is doing that for us. And we could force even more the spend by excluding essentially Facebook engagers, Instagram engagers, and all the kind of stuff, and website engagers. But we didn't want to do that because again, for us, profitability was number 1. And you can see right here, for example, ROAS is 1.07, which for them is great because they actually operating on a loss. So the fact that we are like above 1x in the ROAS is actually great, okay? Their target CPA was $90, we did 95, so just slightly above the target CPA, but again, for them was quite fine. I think we had like pretty good numbers, that kind of what I wanted, right? And so we were able to spend essentially 50,000 K in 2 weeks, hitting the KPIs that we wanted essentially to hit, right? And again, that's why the frequency here was so high, but that's also why we were cool with that, right? And then we have some other assets, for example, 04 and 03, and 01, which you can see the frequency was lower, which means was going more towards new people. But Facebook knew that was not super scalable in terms of like, okay, if we have to keep those costs in terms of like acquisition, it's not going to be possible really to like keep those costs. And again, even though this is like a broad campaign, I manually went inside, essentially start killing ads that were not performing like I wanted to perform, right? So as you can see here, for example, I start killing asset, right? That were like above the CPA, 109, 120. These ones were later down the line, and that's why I didn't kill them, because I just ended up killing the whole campaign once the offer was finished. But anything that pretty much was like above like 90, I was just manually killing either the asset, or I was just going inside the ads here. I was ranking them essentially by results, and then I will see which one was getting the most spend and what kind of results they were getting. And if there was anything that was like completely above like my CPA, then I was killing. Now in this case, you can see, for example, I have this ad right here at 77, and I have another one right here at 136, for example. So you might be wondering, okay, Gilberto, why are you actually leaving this ad on? Well, the reason being is because, again, the frequency here is lower. Even though it's quite high, it's still much lower compared to the other ones, right? This is a 3x, whereas this one is a 4.8. Okay, and yes, these are spent like 7K, whereas this one spent 10. But I know for a fact, if I'm gonna start essentially killing all the ads that have a higher CPA, but they have a lower frequency, this ad right here at some point is gonna burn out. Because yes, this is a retargeting ad. Yes, this is getting our engaged customers. But if I'm killing every single ad that has like a high CPA or higher than this one, but a lower frequency, this ad is gonna burn out. Because the only reason why this ad is working so well is because there are other ads with like a lower frequency, 2.5, 2.29, right? Which even if their CPA is higher compared to the most spending one, they're bringing new traffic, right? Or they're bringing new people. They're the first touch point essentially of this campaign, and this is the last touch point, right? So if I stop essentially giving the water right here, like everything is gonna pretty much go to shit. Okay, and that's why you have to watch a frequency, because again, you will find that in your ad account there are some ads that, for example, have a higher CPA but the frequency is lower, and then there are some ads, like for example this one, that have a higher frequency and a lower CPA. But obviously the reason why these are lower CPA is because it's retargeting ad, right? But if I stop using my top of the funnel ad, which again is the one that primarily have like a higher cost per acquisition but a lower frequency, this one is not going to do any better, because at some point I'm stopping pretty much all the traffic coming from my top of the funnel, which then is going to be engaged and retargeted by this ad right here. And for this ad is going to die across the whole campaign, right? And that's why frequency and CPA nowadays, after the Andromeda update, have a very strong correlation between the two. You cannot just, kill one ad because, oh yeah, the cost per acquisition is high, and just have another one because it's better, and then the frequency is all fucked up. You really need to make sure that everything is congruent, and then you look holistically the ad account pretty much, and you tell, okay, well, after I look holistically at ad account, this is the frequency, this is the CPA, now I can actually make a decision, okay? And your goal should not to eventually find like a better ad than this one, because this one is already doing a good job. My goal should have been to find a better top of the funnel ad. So can I find an ad that is still pushing for a new audience, so lower frequency, and beating my current ad? If the answer is yes, then okay, I can kill the other one. If not, unfortunately, I still have to run this, because again, otherwise, if I start killing all the other ads, this one right here is gonna die with it, okay? So this is essentially the setup that I'm using. And then obviously I also have like some evergreen campaign that we're running right here. So this is just like a creating testing ABO that we were running. I spent like $8,000, so obviously way less compared to the other one. And then we have a few other campaigns that we're running alongside. There was all evergreen, so on offering that, right? But this is kind of the top process that I go around when it comes to optimizing the ad account. I never look specifically at the ROAS. I never look specifically at the CPA cell. I look holistically at the campaign. I treat like the campaign pretty much as like my whole ad account, really, because most of the time I'm just running one campaign for conversion, just like in this case, okay? This campaign right here getting most of the spend, and then maybe we have a few more like they're running, maybe some cost caps or bid cap, but really 80% to 90% of the budget is going right here, and everything else is like a slightly support, right? So what I do, again, I go inside the campaign and then start looking at the whole campaign holistically. What ad is doing like retargeting? What ad is doing at the top of the funnel? What ad is doing middle of the funnel? What ad can I improve in order for my top of the funnel to be better, so that my middle of the funnel can even convert even further? Can I improve my middle of the funnel? Are the numbers okay? What's the frequency? Should I change an ad? Because maybe the frequency is like 9x, well, probably that ad at this point, if I look at last 7 days, is in 9x. It's not going to work for very long, right? Because it's just going in burnout. It's just showing too many times, which means that I probably need to refresh it now. I need to find a new ad for my middle of the funnel, because the other one that I'm running, because the frequency is too high, is about to die. Or perhaps I have to scale down the campaign because the frequency is too high, right? And obviously that also depends on your goal. Is you want to maximize the profitability or to maximize scale, right? Because if you want to maximize scale, then you probably want to focus more on top of the funnel ads, but that means that your CPA is going to be higher over time. Whereas if your goal is to maximize value pretty much, like CPA, then you can still running with like a relatively high frequency, but just know that you're not going to be able to scale that much. Like you're just going to get essentially the same people, right? So this is the process that I'm going on right now. Hope you guys enjoy the video. If anything, again, like if you want to become a media buyer, link down below, you guys can join the program, and peace.